Hey guys, welcome back to ProgramHub, and today in this episode we're going to talk about Web3. So guys, if you have probably clicked on this video, you might be needing some information about what this Web3 is, or you have probably heard this hype of Web3 in the latest few days. So guys, there's a great hype about this word, and that is something that we can see on Google Trends as well. From the last few months, from October onwards, we can see there's a great trend in the word Web3. And what this Web3 is exactly, let's understand in this video. So guys, the entire this trend and hype for the word Web3 was started just a few days back ago when Facebook announced a complete change in its company. So they made Facebook as Meta now, and they declared their great vision for developing MetaVerse. So Web3 is no new term. This is just something that we have from 2014 onwards. But it is this moment of time where we can hear so much of hype for it. So let's start to understand very first what is Web 1, Web 2 and Web 3. So Web 1, so the internet all started in 1969 with development of ARPANET. That was one of the military networks for United States Department of Defense, and that was intended for some military communication. So that led to the start of internet, and the first big revolution in internet came in 1989 with the development of World Wide Web by Tim Berners-Lee. So Tim Berners-Lee made internet for the very first time available to the masses and into the world. So that made the foundation for internet, and this is something that is called as Web 1. And Web 1 was clearly a read only. So it was a read only version where users can just read through some pages. The information was published from one end, and it could be read on a website using just an IP address or a domain address, so that can be used to read the information. It was just a collection of information being shared on the internet for reading purpose, and that's the reason it is called as a read only version by Tim Berners-Lee. So this was a read only version about it, and it continued for a very long time until 2004. So in 2004, finally there came a time for Web 2. So the Web version 2 came, and we also know this by Web version 2.0. So the Web version 2 came, and this was a read and write version, and this is something more often what we know about. So this is a centralized system where we do have a server, we do have a client, and the data has been stored on the server, so it reaches the clients, and we do read the data, we also write the data. So it all started with the start of Facebook and the companies like YouTube, so where users also had a potential, they also have an ability to also write the data on the servers. So it is not just one way of communication and delivering the data, but it's an bilateral way of communicating data and reading and writing data. So now the users as well as the servers, that means the people at the back of a website, so both the people at the same time, they can add data to the website and to the system. So this was something that was a real dream of Tim Berners-Lee that he wanted to happen. So he called this read-write version of web. So this was the second generation of web. So that was called as Web 2. And now from 2014, the whole new term came in, that is Web 3. Now Web 3 is more of a decentralized version, because into the past when we have Web 2, and right now either we are using Web 2 because this all systems that we are majorly using is Web 2, but in Web 3 there is something that is called as decentralization of data, because what we can see is that there's a limited number of companies that are holding the major amount of internet. For example, those can be Amazon servers, Google servers, Facebook, and these companies are actually holding in a major amount of data that are actually centralized. So they have the control over our data, over our information, but we do not have any ability to know what is actually happening with our data. So that is something that was called in Web 3, and that is a decentralized version. So you might have heard about blockchain, cryptocurrencies. So these are the things that actually use a decentralized network of servers. So this is more of a peer-to-peer network. That means if I want something, so I can actually get that from one of my peers. That can be one of my closed in ones in my network. So you must have heard about torrent. So torrent is one of the systems that actually work on peer-to-peer network. So this is complete new version where it says that the data is no more centralized at one place and every person has a copy of data, so that can be easily fetched by any other person. So in a complete way, Web3 tries to bring in a fairer internet by enabling individuals to be more open and be more profitable from their own data and information. So in a sum, Web3 is a fairer internet where we all have the access and control to our own property. And this is something that has just popped in from the October month onwards, and now we are seeing a great hype into it. So the Google trends have just shown a peak for this one word in the last few months, and this is something that is trying to make worryful everyone. So what will happen to the future, how the future will actually be for web developers, and what is going to happen to every another thing. So this is something of a concern to every other person. But yeah, in one way this is really profitable, this is really good, but there will obviously be some technologies that will be made on, or some application that will still run on web 2. So the transition we don't know is gonna be in 2022 or not, but we are seeing a hype into it, because the reason over here is that web3 is not a new term over here. This has already been coined in 2014 and we had seen a hype for it, but the hype was all started to just settle around somewhere, and then we didn't saw anything happening over there. So now once again in 2022 we have a great marketing being done for the world. I would say this, it's in marketing more of, because there's complete new tweets coming in, new opinions coming in from different people. Just like Elon Musk says that web3 sounds like BS, and there are some people who are actually trying to support it. They are actually trying to bring this into actual reality, whereas some people are just not, they are just don't believe it still into this one word. So this is the complete scenario right now about web3, what web3 is and how it's different from web2 that we are currently using. So we would love to know your opinions onto this topic as well, so please leave that down into the comment section. And if you liked our video, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and meet you in the next episode. Till then, goodbye.